think Bakerman's will be a good fit. Is there like a HR manager here? Where do you go for employment?
Ediko and Mr. David, there is any slot that is available for a certain person to come and work with us? Okay, 10-4. They said the space is open.
Okay, but now how does it work? Do I need to go and see somebody for the interview? Must I have?
Yeah.
What must I have? What are they offering? You maybe want to give me some tips on the interview. What must I say? How must I dress? What must I do?
Nah, it's very simple on the interview because the things that they're going to ask you is, are you reliable to work? Heavy underload, what, but it's very simple. It let me call the owner of the shop so that you can speak to him.
Okay, so you're not gonna do the interview. The owner's gonna do the interview.
Yeah.
So would you say like this is a dangerous job?
Yes, you can say that is a dangerous job.
Oh, okay. And do you get danger pay?
No.
Sheesh. No danger pay. And you must sometimes possibly put in your own diesel. Sheesh. Let me think about it, and then once I kind of know, like, can I be honest with you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I was fired from my last job.
Okay, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, but I can explain. Like, like I got fired, but they didn't want to hear my explanation. But I can explain, and I'm sure if I had an opportunity to explain, then it would make sense, and then they would understand. But they didn't want to understand because they just like, you're not allowed to drink on the job if you're a surgeon. You're busy cutting people open and you're doing surgery, but you're drinking. So I feel like that is like sort of like a negative approach to sort of, resolving the issue. If they just had to listen to why I was drinking, then they would have understood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but isn't it that it was part of your contract that you cannot come to work if you're under an influence of an alcohol?
Yeah, I didn't come to work under the influence. I was drinking at work, yeah. So I was already here, and then I started drinking, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they didn't want to listen to my story, and I feel like if I had an opportunity to explain myself, then they wouldn't have fired me, because then they would understand that I needed the alcohol. I needed to drink.
So
is that gonna be? Is that gonna?
I'm actually kind of like lost. Like, why would you need an alcohol at all?
Yeah. So the problem.
Isn't it that alcohol will reduce like your focus and concentration?
Yeah, but it also helped steady my hand. So my hand was a bit shaky. My hand was just because obviously, I was a little bit hungover from the day before. So my hand was a bit shaky. So I just had like 2 black labels just to like steady my hand so that I could actually do the surgery. But they didn't want to hear that. They just like, you can't drink on the job. And I'm like, yeah, but I needed to, because otherwise, imagine I'm going to cut somebody open with a 10 blade with a shaky hand. The line is going to be skew. The incision is going to be skew. And I'm going to do more damage. So I just needed to make my hand, like when you maybe hang over, you're a little babbelas, then you just have like, a little bit more beer, and then your hand become easy again. Your headache is also away, and you feel a lot better. You know that, right?
Unfortunately, I don't drink, so I've never experienced it.
Yeah. Then this is like an educational moment for you. Like if you're not feeling great from the night before because you maybe had too much to drink, and then you just have another beer, and then you feel a little bit better when you wake up. Yeah. So when you wake up, you take another beer, and that's what I did. I was at work already, and then I drank 2 black labels just to sort of steady my hand, and then obviously my HOD had a problem with that, and then obviously they called me to the HR department, and then I had to blow the little the alcohol breathalyzer, and then obviously it was, showing that I drank, which I didn't deny. I told them I was drinking, and then like I didn't need to do the breathalyzer, but they did it anyway to prove what they already knew. So yeah, and then obviously I was fired with immediate effect, and my medical license was revoked. Yeah. So I just wanted to be honest with you about that. Is that going to be a problem?
Yeah, I think that is actually going to be a problem,
Yeah, but
because
I'm being honest.
honestly, yeah, I do understand your situation that you needed to drink so that it can calm your your hands shaking a little bit. But like from my side, it seems like like you
Look,
knew the day before that the
I
following
don't have
day
a
I would be
problem or
going to
anything,
work.
Like it's not like I'm an alcoholic. I don't like have a problem, but it's just like I knew how to solve the problem. The problem was my hand was shaking and I needed to do surgery, so I knew how to solve it. So technically I was a problem solver.
Yeah, but you knew that the following day you would be going to work, and you went ahead and went drinking, so that and then you wake up with a hangover. So to me, it sounds like you. How can I put it?
I thought you were like I was really getting a good vibe. Like I thought like, finally somebody's listening to me, and I felt like you were understanding that I was solving the problem and not, making it worse. So I feel like that should maybe count, like you can understand me. Like if I do drink on the job, then it's just because I'm trying to solve a problem.
Yeah, but from my understanding, I've never had a situation where like drinking an alcohol can make you uh you know like do better, because I believe the moment you are under the influence of alcohol, you lose like concentration and focus.
Yeah, look, that is partially true, but there's been many incidents where alcohol can make a situation better. Like, say, for example, I'm just going to make an example, right? Let's say you go to a bar, and I know you say you don't drink, but I'm just making an example. Let's say you go to a bar, right? And now, like, you don't have confidence, and there's ladies, and you maybe think, oh, nobody's a good match for you. The moment you have some alcohol, and then suddenly your confidence is up, problem solved. The ladies look obviously like, oh, they're so interesting, so attractive. The more alcohol you have, and then, the problem is solved. So alcohol sometimes can solve problems.
Mm, I hear you. All right, so yeah,
So is
I
that like going
think
to be a problem? Is this interview kind of over? You're
from
going to
my
think
side,
about it at least. Don't you have like a co-owner that you need to discuss it with first before you can like say it's over?
in terms of this, I have authorized to take a decision where I can employ you based on like the interview that I had with you. But I also want to find out from your side, like based on everything that I told you and everything that you found out about the company, is this something that you are interested of doing, or is this some like a team that you're interested in joining,
Look,
or something that you need to
I'm gonna
think
be
about it
honest.
first?
Like we obviously, we shared a lot, and I feel like you were sharing a lot about the company, and I told you like here's my objections. Like I was very straight. Like I was telling you certain things that I'm not comfortable doing, and then also I shared a true story of how I lost my previous job and being fired for drinking on the job. And I feel like you were actually listening to me. So I think like if I sleep on it and we kind of maybe look at it with fresh eyes again tomorrow, and then maybe we both be in a better position to actually make a decision.
All right, that's good for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
So yeah, I will also fill up the order in terms of everything that you told me.
if I can ask you not to share the alcohol story with the owner, because that was kind of private, that was just between the two of us. Like I felt comfortable to share that, but I don't feel comfortable with you going to tell the owner that, if that's okay.
Yeah, we can leave that part out.
Yeah, we can just keep that
So,
kind of between us. Yeah, like if you're gonna talk, about me to the other owners, just tell him like the good things. Tell him I was the head of my department, and you know, I'm obviously well spoken, and I've got a license. Tell him the good things.
yeah, definitely, I'll
Yeah,
put in the good words for you.
the good words. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so you're saying you're gonna give us the final answer tomorrow?
yeah. I'm gonna sleep on it. I've got one more interview to do. They're looking for a therapist at Lidonna's Spa. So I just want to see what they're offering, what kind of money they're putting on the table, and if they maybe have any objections. Like I went down to PD, and PD has objections like you can't be over a certain age, otherwise you can't apply. And I felt like they were discriminating. But yeah, so I just got one more interview to do, and then I can make a decision. You know what I mean?
All right,
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
understand.
I was at the
All right.
mechanic shop, and they offered training, so that kind of stood out for me. That you can learn a new trade. But I just want to find out, with the counseling, do they also offer training? You know, like I definitely can't work at a restaurant because I can't do like, flipping burgers and stuff like that. That's not for me.
I see.
Yeah,
All right, no problem then. I guess I'm gonna hear from you, and
yeah,
then we'll also get everything finalized tomorrow.
fantastic, man. Look, I want to say thank you for your time. Okay.